6:30, we'll get started. Call our meeting to order. First is the adoption of the agenda to be amended with the Marshall Generation Project Site Control Agreement.
Move to approve as amended.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next is the minutes from the October 10th meeting. Had a chance to review those.
Move to approve as presented.
Have a motion and a second. Approve the minutes from the October 10th meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No audience. One thing I was going to ask, could we add to the agenda the property incident reports, just a line item there so we always know to look at it on the agenda? Thank you. And then, so, looks like we did have a couple of injuries, or one injury and a property damage. One thing on the injury, Jim, were they using a hole saw in the metal?
Yeah.
And one thing I'll just add, and it's my experience having worked with contractors that did a lot of that, maybe we do use it, is they would always use anti-seize whenever they were cutting a hole, and it really, it seemed to help to keep it from grabbing. So it might be something to think about.
They're using carbide tip hole saws.
I have to check, but probably.
Them hole saws will get you.
Yeah.
Yes, they will. Yeah. And although I know our modifier is in good shape, and later we'll look at that, but also we should probably just kind of think that our recordables and report onlys are a little higher than last year. Aware of that. Nothing else, we'll move into reports. Tony?
Morning.
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 I do have an action item there at the top, the cash reserves minimums and maximums for the new budget year. I did hand out a new one to you guys. I was reviewing it yesterday and found a mistake, so it's not a huge one, but I gave you a new copy. The way the policy, we look at five things. We look at the operating and maintenance, the purchase power, historical assets, debt services, and capital, 5-year capital plan. So if you go there to that page 2 there, the operating expenses less depreciation less purchase power, they're in September of 24. The purchase power, if you look at the old one, that was a number that I had it formula wrong. It was actually pulling the 3-year average, not the September number. So that's the change. So it changed it from, it changed the minimum from 965,000 to 976. So it increased it 11,000. So that was the only mistake there. I got that changed. Then we look at our purchase power in step 2. We look at a 3-year average, the minimum and maximums. 3 is historical assets. This is all as of the end of September. And then our debt services, that's just our one monthly payment. We come up with that calculation. And then our 5-year capital plan. I did, in looking at that, the only thing there to note is the broadband grant 2, I did include the 25% match, the 75% grant reimbursement I didn't include in those numbers. So looking at all that, that comes back to basically page 6 there, which is our minimum and maximums for this new fiscal year. So our overall total minimums for the utility is $21,528,392, and our maximum is $30 million. I've got it broken out by department, and then I just put where our cash was as of September 24, and where we're at in those compared to those minimums and maximums. Not really too concerned right now. I mean, I know for the water side, we are, it doesn't look good, but we're still waiting on that reimbursement, which we should hopefully get here in the next couple weeks. Wastewater, it's really our 5-year capital plans. Derek's got a lot of stuff down there to do in the next 5 years, so that's kind of inflating that minimum. But we do have the option there on page 7 is what our I&I and sewer mains, and I think we talked about that back when we were budgeting. I don't know if you guys have any questions, kind of ran through that, but.
Hey, the one thought I had, and I don't know, Tony, and I'd be glad to participate anyway if I could. Is there, could we do any, maybe rather than look at this, and we do need to look at it every year, but is there any way we could do maybe like a projection or forecasting that says if we did this, maybe we decreased capital, or maybe we did something with revenues that this would get us to our minimums within the next 2 years, next 3 years?
Yeah, I kind of did that in the budget a little bit, where I was trying to project what our financials are going to be in the next 5 years. And if you look at, like electric, for example, we're $708,000 below our minimum. But we did have the 7.5% cost adjustment, so that should get us, I'm thinking, can't remember where I had it at projections, and I was pretty close in the budget. Water and electric did change compared to what I had budgeted projection-wise, just based on what our year end ended up being. But I think in the electric department, 26, I have us going above our minimum.
Okay,
So next budget year,
in our
electric. And then
okay.
water, I can't remember, I think water, we'd pushed a lot of projects back in water to adjust for that. But I still don't have us hitting our minimum. Well, yeah, I still don't have us hitting our minimum within the next 5 years. So, yeah, man, but we can
I'll be
look
glad
at
to
that.
participate in it.
Yeah, sure.
Sit down.
And I try to give you guys a quarterly update every time.
Yeah,
To try to
uh-huh.
give us an idea of where we're at.
Yeah. I mean, I just think it's important that, we've got this policy and we ought to try our darndest to get to those minimum reserves. I know in the past it's, we haven't really had that, and we just kept
Yeah.
looking at money and how much, and nobody ever had a good answer on, what the reserves were.
Well, I think that if we're not hitting our minimum, I don't necessarily think it means that we need to have a rate increase. I just think that
Right. I
it's
agree.
something we got to be aware of, whether we push projects back or
Yeah.
we do things to try to eliminate that. So,
Yeah, I agree. There's other ways to get the minimum than a rate increase.
yeah, right. And that's, it kind of with wastewater, that's what I really try to avoid, wanting to do a rate increase, So I think we got some big projects, but I think Travis's plan, his study plan, we had a lot of projects coming up. I think that we don't know how accurate those numbers are. I think I put worst case numbers in there, so that's really inflating the water side a lot. Now, do we need to do those projects in the next 5 years, or, so that's what we're going to have to look at going forward, I think.
Right.
But all the other departments, internet and gas, I did transfer $200,000 from gas to electric at the end of September, and we're still $300 over in gas. So, I think that's going to speed up gas's payment back to electric. So, yeah, I think there's things we can do there, but
Revenues are what they are, but just getting your overhead, your expenses down.
Right.
is the way to build that. So I'm not a fan of kicking projects down the road. If there's stuff that needs to be done, we need to do it.
in Eric's department, really, their operating expenses should go down. They've had a lot of maintenance costs over the last couple of years. I was talking to Jeff about it. So once we get through those projects, we should start seeing that go down slightly. So, but yeah, anything you guys need or whatever you want, just let me know. And like I said, I'll continue to provide you guys quarterly updates. But if you guys want something sooner than that, just let me know, and I'll
Okay.
do what I can.
Maybe this is a dumb question, but when you're comparing your minimum to your maximum reserves, and you're looking at your current cash position, why are there some numbers in your current cash position that are different than two columns?
What are you looking at, Rick?
Page 6, like your electric operating there on the minimum is 3.9, but on the maximum side it's 2.1.
Is it because of the number of days, that formula, that percentage?
Oh, say it again?
Okay, so the electric operating cash is different than two columns. I'm just curious why.
Yes, minimum and maximum is your operating.
And then the broadband reserves are excluded on the second column.
Oh,
Is there-
I didn't update them.
Okay.
They should be the same, they should be
They should-
mirror,
I
they
was
should
thinking
mirror each other.
be the same, okay.
Yep, good catch, thank you. Yeah, they should just mirror each other.
That's what I thought, okay. The formula for how we're getting to this hasn't changed since we initiated this policy.
Correct, yeah. Yeah, I just roll forward every year, and we go from there.
Like these two. This should all mirror each other, so that's different,
Okay.
and then that's excluded over here.
Okay, all right, thank you.
If nobody's got any other questions, I would make a motion to approve the MMU cash reserve policy minimum maximum reserve levels for the budget year 24-25.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the Marshall Municipal Utilities Cash Reserve Policy minimum and maximum reserve levels for the budget year 2024, 2025. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you, gentlemen. There, I do have the cash investment summary, it's kind of a repeat there. I did have a mistake there too. I had to go to that loggers meeting, so I was rushing last week. It should be 12 months ending, not 6 months up there at the top of the header, so I just missed that. Then I also have our fourth quarter financial summary there, of where we're at versus budget year for '24.
Shortage and water, is that DNR grant, I guess?
The source, yeah, is that grant money, yeah, that we just didn't get. And the same with internet, you know, we hadn't gotten any reimbursement and I had budgeted for it, so that's why the revenues are down in those two departments. Overall, I think we were pretty close as a utility. I don't have any too many concerns there. And then our loan balances as of September is where we're at there. And then I had the detail out there by group. Looking through there, though, I didn't really have anything that really stuck out too much. I know our other general expenses were a little higher than budgeted. And looking through that, I think that was some SCADA stuff we did that really wasn't budgeted for. And then we had lime spreading in there last year that really wasn't budgeted for. So, in the water, specifically in sewer. But overall, I didn't see anything there. Other than some miscellaneous items there, be happy to answer any questions.
It's not a big thing, but I like that we're participating in stuff like Trick or Treat on the Square.
That was our first year doing it, so yeah, we were kind of,
I mean, just be involved in the community, be out there talking to people, I think is important.
yeah, appreciate that.
So thanks for everybody that participated in that.
Anything else for Tony, other than maybe looking at the project list? Is there anything there anybody has a comment on? Drive-through roof, I don't know, I guess we just,
Yeah, so whatever you guys want to do.
Yeah.
Did you guys tell me to do something with it last time and I didn't do it?
no,
No,
it's, I think the price kind of
We're
cut
just kind of
shot.
kicking the can down the road.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not leaking, I guess.
It's not an immediate need by any means.
No.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Tony.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Morning, Megan.
Morning. First, Chuck, thank you for highlighting the safety. We all appreciate the board's support on that, so. Do you have a couple action items for you? And you should have a memo there in front of you regarding the health benefits, some updates to what you found in your packet. Things were kind of still happening as we were preparing that, so. We did get our renewal offer from Blue KC. It was a 4.9% increase, which was well within our budget. We had budgeted for 15%. So we were okay there, but we shopped our group. We got a number of carriers that declined the quote. A couple did come in. The only one that was competitive was United Healthcare. And while they are under a little over 100,000 under current premium, it would have a negative impact on the benefits and coverage. Increased out-of-pocket maximums, higher co-pays, and co-insurances in some of the common healthcare services. So we did take that back to Blue KC when we were able to leverage that proposal and get them to improve their renewal offer. Instead of a 4.9% increase, they are offering us a 2.9% increase. So what was a little over $70,000 annual increase, they've lowered to about 41.5. And based on the fact that we're well under budget and the impact on benefits, we are recommending that we go ahead and accept that medical insurance renewal offer from Blue KC. And that's the first recommendation that you have there.
In a world where 10, 20% increases are common, 2.9 is fantastic.
I feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, should.
I'll make a motion to accept the medical insurance renewal with Blue KC as presented effective January 1st, 2025.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to accept medical insurance renewal from Blue KC as presented, effective January the 1st, 2025. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you. And on the back side of that memo, you've got some updated information on the ancillary benefits package, and that is our dental, vision, disability, and life insurance. We had budgeted for, obviously that's a much smaller expense than the medical. We had budgeted for about a $10,000 increase in that whole package. What came in, I've got in your packet 4873, but that's actually just 4,100 of that is MMU's cost. The rest is employee contributions to dependent dental and vision coverage. So we also shopped this, and we did get some proposals back, but they offered very little savings. I think the best was about it was less than $6,000 annually, and again would be offering an inferior benefit would do harm to dental coverage, vision coverage. There was one, I had some questions on short-term disability coverage. There's a lot of intricacies can go into definitions in those that never really got answered to my satisfaction. So we are again recommending we renew there with our existing carrier, which is MetLife. We're again well within budget on that. Also, you may have seen the paragraph in your board packet about our life insurance. We've offered $20,000 to employees. That number's for as long as I've been here, and that number's not changed in over 35 years. So in the last couple of years, I've, in my summary of our annual wage and benefits review, noted that seeing those numbers come up at some other employers, we're getting a little behind there. So we would like to raise that to $35,000, and that's about a $3,000 annual impact. Life insurance is, I think least cost benefit, health benefit that we offer. So not a huge impact there. We would still be under budget by a couple $1,000. So we are recommending a motion to accept the ancillary insurance renewal from MetLife, and just know that we would increase that coverage benefit too if you guys approve this as presented.
Twenty-five is what dumpster went by. 25 or 50, I'm not sure.
35 seems reasonable, yeah.
I move to accept the ancillary insurance renewal of life as presented effective January 1, 2025.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to accept ancillary insurance renewal from MetLife as presented effective January 1st, 2025. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you. Then I just wanted to mention, as Chuck noted, we have learned our mod rating for work comp. Effective April 1, will drop from 0.83 to 0.71. As everybody knows, anything under 1, you're better than average. That rating will be an all-time low for records that I have going back to, I think, 94. And we can't let our foot off the gas, but want to take the opportunity to commend everybody. I looked in 2018, 2019, even 2020, we were paying over $300,000 a year for work comp insurance. Now we're down in the 70s, so we just can't take our eye off the ball. So
That's great. Congratulations. Thank you.
that's all I have, unless the board has any questions.
I did have a question on this page 10. What happens if the employee separates from MMU?
It's the lender takes on the risk.
Okay.
That we do not.
We're
Yep,
disassociated from it.
right,
And they work with the employee to settle the,
yes.
okay.
Yes, and thank you. I should have mentioned that. I'm still reviewing their new agreement for the upcoming year, but so far I don't have any concerns. And this is the first time since we started with them in 2020 that they've changed the premium rate on that. So,
Okay.
and we see quite a bit of utilization with that. I think that benefit helps folks out. So,
See, they can even get their veterinarian bill on there too.
yes,
Yeah.
and that's about almost 20% of what they're using it for. So dollar-wise.
Anything else for Megan?
No vacancies right now? Okay. That's great.
Feel good now, I'm not the only one being shushed by Megan.
All right, moving on. Grant, good morning.
Morning, gentlemen. I do have one action item this morning. It's to update our water master plan. This plan will put main replacements in additions, anything that's not in the OSP. They have to be in the master plan before we can put them in the owner supervised plan. We also include evaluation of the 12-inch transmission line from Mullen to Marshall to see what we can do to help that situation. So at this time, my recommendation is a motion to authorize management to request qualification for engineering services to update MMU's water master plan.
Make a motion to authorize management to request qualifications for engineering services to update and use water master plan.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to authorize management to request qualifications for engineering services to update MMU's water master plan. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you, gentlemen. Just a couple updates. The tower is not complete. The sandblasting is done, and the partial second coating is done. They had a pump go down. They were gonna leave and come back and give us the tower back with this is connecting it and letting it sit for 24 hours. Time restraints wouldn't let us do that. They're still not back. They're still waiting on their pump. But we have been able to flush with a tremendous job from Travis's guys, folks up there keeping water in the reservoir. We have been able to go slow and steady to get the flushing program completed without the tower. I would say that the number of main breaks is probably directly related to the tower being out. We had 3 pressure relief valves around the tower to simulate the tower, and we had one go down. It took 3 days to get that back. So, knock on wood, things have slowed down since we replaced that. Other than that, that's the issue with those, I do believe. And we did receive confirmation from DNR that they received our LSLI, our lead and copper inventory. And thank you was all we got. Other than that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Them not being out of the tower yet is creating other problems. 27 is when they said they were done.
Yeah, but we were supposed to have them back on the 27th. We had personnel climb the tower every day, take pictures. I communicated with the wire every day. Finally got someone to come down, one of the major bosses to come down and take a look. We were supposed to have it back Sunday evening, and the pump went down Saturday. And couldn't get it done.
Project list, anything there? I guess the I&I, what's the plan for that next?
We're still reviewing the best way to go about what avenues we have to spend that money to improve mostly the customer side. That's basically what we saw was the big issue. There is a couple issues we found with storm drains that we further investigated and didn't really come up with any concrete evidence. Obviously there was smoke that came in. So at this time, I think we're going to add those to this year's Cure in Place program, because there's other areas in those lines too that Cure in Place would be beneficial there. So that's kind of where we're at now.
Most of it's on the customer side. I mean, we're kind of handcuffed in that situation. There's not a lot we can do about it.
And, I don't know what I will do as far as countrywide. I know that the federal government's getting more and more involved on the water side with lead and copper, and kind of forcing the public's hands. So I don't know that that's kind of the way the climate is now with, all the way through PSC in terms of federal's getting more involved, so you may see bigger steps from the federal level. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened.
Anything else on the project list, or anything else for Grant? Thank you, Grant. Moving on. Eric, good morning.
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 I do have an action item. It's replace the windows in the waste aeration building and the return activated sludge building. Was a budgeted item. We had 2 windows that fell out of the waste aeration building and have broken. We'd like to replace 3 windows in that building. We also have a window on the outside of the door in the return activated sludge building we'd like to replace. Recommendation be motion to replace the windows in the waste aeration and return activated sludge buildings using quotes.
How big are these windows?
The windows in the waste aeration they're pretty big windows. They're swing out windows. You could open them to get air. And what happened is on windy days they fell out and cracked them and broke them. And I believe the window got broke on the return activated sludge. The door was open and when the wind blew it shut, it broke the outside window.
So are you gonna put the same type of window back in, or?
Looking to put different type of windows in. I think just sturdy the way it was.
Does anybody else have any window door projects right now where we could consolidate? Any? No? Okay.
I make a motion to replace the windows in the waste aeration and return activated sludge buildings using quotes.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to replace the windows in the waste aeration and return activated sludge buildings using quotes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you. Just an update, KSB was here on October 23rd, placed all the bolts in those mixers and put the new bracket on the mixer that's out. Burns and Mac did have a guy here overseeing with me. And as far as the guide mask for the one that's out that's bent, we both recommend that we're going to replace that. They were looking at trying to bend it back, and I think that's a bad idea. So they still have to come back and do that. I think the best way to do that is to drain our aeration basin down to get down to it. And I think we've got a plan to do that. And then tomorrow will be our last day on the to have our UV running. And after that, we should be able to start pulling things out and get it going on the UV project. I think Jeff and I have some meetings coming up, Burns and McDonald, to get that project. Other than that, I'll answer any
So
other
that
questions.
mixer does have like a bent shaft or something?
So the guide that it slides down in, whenever the bolts broke, it bent the guide back.
Okay.
We're gonna have to replace that.
Project list. Anything there?
Sure looks pretty good.
Yeah, sweet.
Sweet.
Looks good. Anything else? Move on. Thank you. Travis, good morning.
Morning. Update on the well maintenance and treatment project. It is complete now. They finished it up, I believe, Tuesday, so that is done. But not much else other than be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Conversion go okay?
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't have any issues or nothing.
What about well 4? Are they?
It's complete.
It is?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And the project list, anything?
Just out of curiosity, with all this dry weather, have you seen any change in water levels, table levels?
A little bit when they checked our monitoring wells. Yeah, they were down quite a couple feet extra, but that was about it. So yeah, the static levels are a little lower, but nothing too alarming.
Anything more for Travis? Thank you, Travis. Doug, good morning. The solar installs, are they residential? Yes. Okay.
40 properties in town with solar.
Project list. In there. Anything else for Doug? Thank you, Doug. Jim, good morning.
We had the PMRG group that came in Monday, and they're pretty much done with the area around the quarry, so try to inspect that today, and they're finishing up their cleanup and be out of town here shortly, so that went pretty quick, other than 6 months it took to get somebody here to do it, so. Yeah, happy to answer any questions for you if you got them.
Thank you for getting that warranty information on the motor. So the car that hit the cabinet,
There's no police report. There was no police report.
oh, okay.
We kind of know what happened, but since there's no police report, the neighbor said he was working on his transmission fluid and didn't realize he was at park.
Okay.
She said she's glad that the box was in the way, otherwise he would have hit the house. And missed Doug's pole.
Great.
Fiber progress map, yep.
Pretty much done with everything up north, 41, all that's green just about. Working out east on some of that, where the yellow and the orange meet. Still having a little bit of trouble with the conduit. The conduit we had came with the pull tape, and their contractor was supposed to pull the pull tape out. Sometimes they forgot and left it in there, and whenever we try to blow it, fiber in there, it just gets wadded up and can't blow anything. So we've had a few spots where we've had to dig it up and get the pull tape back out.
My mother's quite excited to have fiber at their house.
Finally got to her.
Thank you guys very much.
I can't say that I've heard anyone say that they were not happy that it got there. Yeah. Project
Long
list?
Project list with all the different areas, but
Yeah.
a lot of those are complete now.
Anything else for Jim? Thank you, Jim. Jared, good morning.
Unit 6, did have a call with them last week. I think Jeff forwarded the email to you guys that I sent to OPEB on that. Nothing really new, do have a call with them this afternoon. Not happy with the final time, but I am happy with how things seem to be moving better now. Unit 10 and 11's water treatment project. We finished all the installation of the equipment up last week, and here at Callahan was in yesterday, and got that all started up for us. So that is complete. And we also had a electric motor go out on the surf water pump on unit 10 last week. That was the first set we had rebuilt, and we took the motor off and sent it to Hauser, and it looks like it's gonna be a rewind project. Hopefully we'll have that back, hopefully next.
Do you still have the same project manager with Unit 6 since our last meeting?
The newest one, yes.
They haven't
Yep,
changed
no.
again?
And he's been
Yeah.
really good.
All right, good.
That's it, all I got.
Okay. Project list. So on that auto tie baler, it says create mail open bid. What do we got there, Jared?
So it's out for bids right now. I was talking to Jeff just yesterday. Not sure, I've learned a lot more things about that since we sent that out. And we may look at rejecting those and starting fresh. I think there may be a better avenue for us as far as the type of baler
Oh, okay,
than what we were originally thinking.
okay.
Is there a time frame we have to do that for the grant?
No.
Okay.
Anything else for Jared? Thank you. Jeff, good morning.
Morning, gentlemen. You should have a memorandum. This just came up yesterday as part of the Marshall Generation Project. You have to submit any projects like this to the market, which in this case is the Southwest Power Pool for approval. And they need to have, we've kind of verbally agreed on the sale of the pipe yard and that property, but they don't have possession of it yet. And it needs this site control agreement that they've submitted. I want to thank the city. I found out about this 11:30 yesterday and got in touch with city staff, and they've worked hard over there. Elizabeth, the new city attorney's worked with Penny, and they pretty much have everything wrapped up. I think there's a few things, some impedance data, things like that are finalizing today. But the city council did set a meeting for tonight at 6 p.m., a special meeting just for this. If they have to have this submitted by close of business 5 o'clock Thursday, or MEC will be fined $250,000. And a percentage of that $250,000 comes out of our pocket. So my recommendation would be to authorize the board president to sign the site control agreement, and request the city council authorize the mayor to sign that agreement between the city and Missouri Electric Commission.
So is this signing the property over to them?
No, I could get you a copy of the agreement. It's basically,
If they
we're saying that we aren't going to develop it for anything else, that we've set aside this property. We're working on surveys. There's some legal descriptions. So there's kind of two parts to it. There's the property that's being sold, and then they have to demonstrate some shared properties that will be covered under a common use agreement or common facilities agreement.
Okay.
Because when SPP looks at these, they say, okay, you're submitting this, well, you should have this many acres to be able to do that. Well, the old pipe yard doesn't provide what SPP would normally recommend, but if you include our property that we're gonna have in a common facilities agreement and be able to share, that will, I think, work for SPP as far as meeting the requirements. So,
Okay.
no, it's not, nothing's being sold, it's just kind of being described and laid out that we've agreed to do this. We won't develop the property. It kind of commits us to the project, but the land sale and all that stuff will be handled separately later. So,
It doesn't limit us in any way in what we can do with the old power plant property?
no, it's
Okay.
specifically described in the pipe yard.
Okay.
And some of the other ones, there were 3 properties over there when we started this that for some reason were Marshall Housing Authority of the City of Marshall indeed. So we've got the one corrected at the animal shelter. There's one in Miami Sub. There's a tract in our substation where our breakers are sitting that Marshall Housing Authority is on the deed. Elizabeth is taking care of the one, and she's working on the other 2. One is Miami Sub, and the other is in 1011. So, and we want to get those straightened out for the second half, which would be the common facilities agreement. But, this is really just to demonstrate to SPP that both parties are committed. The project's going to move forward. They don't want you to submit a project just as a placeholder in line. You need to be ready to go. You need to have control over the site, and all the things required to make this project happen. So it's kind of a pressing issue to get that in. So, it hasn't changed the project. I think it's still everything we've talked about before. So, but yeah, if you guys have any questions. And again, I do want to thank the city. They talked to JD and Vince and yesterday when I found out, and really want to thank them for doing what they did on their end. It certainly was very helpful.
I make a motion to authorize the board president to sign the site control agreement and to request city council to authorize the mayor to sign the site control agreement between MMU and the city of Marshall and Missouri Electric Commission.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to authorize the board president to sign the site control agreement and to request the city council authorize the mayor to sign the site control agreement between MMU/city and the Missouri Electric Commission. All those in favor? Opposed?
Thank you, gentlemen. I do have another item there. It's a action item that I would recommend taking no action on. If you gentlemen are good with the agreement we have with MSDC, and want to continue forward, that would be what I would recommend.
Make a motion for no action.
No action.
No action.
No action.
All right, thank you, gentlemen.
Uh-huh.
Just a couple updates. DNR, so I called them Monday, only to find out that they're still waiting on something that they weren't waiting on 2 weeks ago. So,
Something from Burns Mag?
it's on the non-American or the Buy American stuff. You know, it has to be with 10% more, and they have to certify all that. Burns replied to them Monday. It was trying to get them, you know, okay, so you're waiting on this. Is there other stuff you can reimburse while we're doing this? But I think some of that was going to be reimbursed, we were counting as match as part of the 90-10. So kind of the way they had it organized at DNR to get us our money. So I'm hoping here pretty soon. I mean, I just almost replied, you guys are about to give me a stroke. So, but I didn't. It's just been pretty tough. But we'll continue. I'll continue to call and prod and try to get this done. So.
Thanks for your persistence, yeah.
Somebody being visited.
Could be, yeah, I thought about that.
I'm serious.
Yeah, well, I hope it doesn't take that long, but if it does, I'm with you, Ken.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I mean, I hate to say it, but they're just sitting down there holding money so they can make money. The longer they can put it off, the more they make.
you know, we've discussed the lack of urgency that we see from that organization. You know, you just don't see, and that's hard for us because when you're in the utility business and something breaks, you fix it, and there's an urgency that you have to do that, and I certainly don't see any urgency on their part.
Well, it's not only that, but I mean,
Yeah.
we talked about this before, you know, you've got to go ahead and do it and spend your money and then hope you get reimbursed for it. And they make a commitment saying, okay, we're going to give you this money, but when are they going to give it to you? I mean,
Curtis, help us.
You know, I don't think at this point, I think we're, you know, had it been a while ago.
Okay.
But I'll get back with Burns and see what, I mean, just see if they can. And they didn't know they were still waiting on this stuff because we had a meeting with Burns last week on water and wastewater improvements and just kind of looking forward there. And they asked, hey, are you guys waiting on anything from us? No. And so I think there's been some poor communication.
Hopefully
involved.
persistence will pay off.
Well, I'm certainly.
That's all you can do.
Well, and it's getting down to crunch time. I
Yeah.
mean, we've got a spreader truck.
Yeah.
Travis hasn't called on it because if you don't, you know, we don't want to speed them up.
Yeah.
And those are the people you call that'll probably get you your stuff, you know, fairly soon, so.
Yep.
Want to update tentative subdivision meeting to discuss the preliminary plat for out here on West Vest. They're working hard on that to get that moving forward. I'll try to circle back with them. I know the city's there's some code stuff they had to work out to make sure everything was covered there. And he is planning on building approximately 100 homes, and they will be all electric. So, you know, with that project there, if that goes, which will be fantastic, because that'll be good for MMU in the city as far as the pilot, and then this Marshall Generation project is going to increase revenue on our electric side, our natural gas side, as well well, so I think those numbers on the cash reserve policy, if some of this gets going, will take care of themselves, because I think we're really getting through, when you look at the long-term policy, Doug's kind of finishing up what was probably started about 25, 30 years ago to really go through all our substations and kind of get them up, and this will get us where we'll have a break for a while, and we should be in real good shape there, so. But yeah, hopefully this will go. I think it'll be a good for the community. And we're doing what we can. I know, is that what I think it is?
Rain or wind? Maybe wind.
Grant has reviewed the water and sewer that they submitted, and then we went back and had to have them add a few more easements on the plat. So I think from a utility standpoint, we're in pretty good shape. The stormwater, I think there's a stormwater issue they've got to work on. Mark's engineer and the city's engineer were I think they met yesterday, maybe, or Monday. Yeah, we met Monday, and they're hoping to have that done by the end of the week. So hopefully this gets moving forward. Still working out whole use agreements. When people are paying $2 of rent, they don't want to go to 12. So there is a clause in there we can cancel the contracts, the current ones, with a certain amount of notice, and so I played that card, and we've got some activity. So hopefully we'll get those wrapped up pretty soon. MSDC, you can see there's starting to get a lot of activity there. Gambino's Pizza was in, if anybody would like to open a Gambino's Pizza. Let me know and I'll put you in touch with someone. And as you guys probably heard, Love's had made a commitment to the junction. That's a good thing. I think the county signed the contract on the visitor center, so some stuff going there. There was another housing developer out of Carrollton, I think, has bought some property here and is looking at doing some projects similar to what he's got up there. I didn't make it up there to see those, but I know some of the board members on MSDC did. I've seen some pictures, pretty nice little homes. They're not real big, but pretty nice, and should be a good addition to some of the infill lots. I think if this works, that'll be something we move forward with. Don't have anything else, but would be happy to answer any questions.
Don't forget. All right. Next is cash disbursements.
Just tear off this front page and say
Okay.
DNR.
You know, when you owe them money, it doesn't work that way.
I guess there was a big Burns Mac in here for North Street. Yeah. Yeah.
Or a file payment. Does that have a little round payment?
What is this water segregated fund?
That's our water reserve.
It's just a reserve fund? Okay.
Doesn't look very good right now.
Yeah, it's not on there regularly, right?
No, it's not. So, funny story about that, why they're doing this. So, DNR, so they said, DNR told me, hey, we need to set up an ACH deposit, so we deposit this DNR money into your account. Even water segregated, thinking, okay, we drained our water reserve account, so when we get the money, instead of now it's a check, it's deposited directly into the water segregated account. So, all of a sudden, I started getting all these deposits in the water segregated. And so what it is we have maybe 15 to 20 accounts that the state pays, like utility accounts. So now, instead of mailing us those checks, now they're depositing those checks in the water segregated fund. So I had to try to call the state and say, hey, these should be going into this account, so we need to scratch this ACH.
Yeah.
And I can't get anybody to call it back. So now I'm having to take those monies that are deposited into the water system and move them into the general fund, but that's where they should be going.
Trying to get anything anymore is, some people are more difficult than others. But I'm hopeful that if the firms can get this stuff to them, we could have some deposits within a day or two, because they have everything submitted, they're just waiting on several items. I know Burns is doing what they can, to get that stuff.
So the check will be in the mail, it should.
We hope.
Make a motion to approve cash disbursements.
Have a motion and a second to approve cash disbursements as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any other business? Our next board meeting is Thursday, November the 14th. Okay, good for everyone? Okay. Till further notice.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.